Welcome back to KnowledgeCity's course on Cascading Style Sheets. My name's Cliff Brozo, I'm your instructor, and today we're going to talk about how we go about designing a slider window. If you remember, in the previous lesson, we looked at the difference between border boxes and content boxes. We looked at how we go about using display of grid. We coded the game board, and we learned the difference between using percents and fractions. Today, we're going to create a slider window. We're going to have to use a little bit of JavaScript, but don't worry, it's not too much and it won't hurt. We'll open and close a slider window. We'll pass the window some values, and we'll go about saving the answers that the user types in. Let's take a look. As you know, HTML puts information on a page. CSS styles that information and makes it look pretty. JavaScript makes the web pages interactive, and that engages the user. For our game, we need to be able to click on a dollar value and open up a slider window. We don't want to go to a new HTML page because we need to be able to save all of the answers that we're going to be typing in. If you look at the code in the middle of the screen, you'll see our division is called 4-400, and that appears all the way through this entire process. 4-400 here when we close the navigation window, 4-400 when we send the text area and learn which dollar value was placed. We're using the same ID. What you'll notice is this piece right here that says href JavaScript void 0. This is a common technique that is used for hyperlinks when we're using JavaScript. We don't want the page to be refreshed, so we tell the browser that there really is nothing to do even if someone clicks on a hyperlink. Now we need the click function in order to open and close the window. We need to have some sort of event that happens, and the click event is the thing that will start the whole process. So when a user clicks on the 400, the window will automatically open. The piece in the middle here with this closed container left and right, well, that's a little nicety that we have that will show you how to create a fancy looking close button. I've got some text that is a placeholder telling me that this is the fourth category in the game and the first question, and I'm going to call it a who is question. I don't have the question yet, but I've got a placeholder, and I'm going to accept some input as an answer. Let's take a look exactly how that looks. As you saw before, we have several divs that open the navigation window based on which dollar value is clicked. If they click on a $400 value in category 1, I will open up this particular window. Category 2, Category 3, Category 4, Category 5, and 6. And as you saw when we created the game board, this was basically a copy and paste exercise and just changing the dollar values. When we get down into the code that we just looked at, we are saying, okay, I'm in the fourth category and the first clue, so I have my ID, and this becomes important. The reason why we have to have IDs is because we have to let the JavaScript know which window we are wanting to open. When the user clicks on the dollar value, the open nav function takes place. And if you looked at the JavaScript, which begins with the word script and ends with a close script tag, we have two basically identical functions. One is called open nav, the other is called close nav. And what the functions do is they get the clue, the value, the ID, in this case 4-100, of which of these to open. The JavaScript then says, let me look at the HTML elements, all of the things that are in HTML, and find the one that contains the value that this function was just passed, the 4-400. I style the width of the page to say I want this width to be 400 pixels. When the user closes the navigation window, I then style it back to 0 pixels, and effectively that closes the window. So what we do is we pass a value to the JavaScript function to open up a particular piece of code that's in our HTML. And then we close that particular piece of code. Obviously, everything needs to be labeled carefully, but it works just well, as you'll see in a couple of minutes. Let's explore the code.